Sangyawa Kunge Yeshe Chikdu Time Gyalten Zimbet Ramjan Kilkor Gyatso Traduk Chinchen Lamesha Wade Omo A Guru Vajra Dara Sumati Gyana Shasan Samudra Shri Bhadra Sarva Siddhi Hum Hum Oma Guru Vajra Dara Sumati Gyana Shasan Dara Samudra Shri Bhadra Sarva Siddhi Oma A Guru Vajra Dara Sumati Gyana Shasan Dara Samudra Shri Bhadra Sarva Siddhi Guru Vajadara Sumati Yana Shasanandara Samudra Shibandra Savasiti Oma Guru Vajadara Sumati Yana Shasanandara Samudra Shibandra Savasiti Oma Guru Vajadara Sumati Yana Shasanandara Samudra Shibandra Savasiti Oma A Guru Vajadara Sumati Jana Shasara Samunda Shibanda Savasiti A Guru Vajadara Sumati Jana Shasara Samunda Shibanda Savasiti Oma A Guru Vajadara Jana Shasanandara Samunda Shibanda Savasiti Dara Sumadi Jana Shasa Dara Samunda Shibanda Savasiti Guru Vajadara Sumadi Shasanandara Samunda Shibanda Savasiti Om Guru Vajradara Sumati Gyana Shasanadar Samudra Shri Bhadra Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradara Sumati Gyana Samudra Shri Bhadra Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradara Sumati Gyana Shasanadar Samudra Shri Bhadra Sarva Siddhi Hum Locho Sambo Pagyo Trashipa Tuche Tempe Trinle Yarmoda Pege Drolor Zambe Zebrache Pande Lame Shabla Solwade Omo A Guru Vajradara Sumati Muni Shasane Karma Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradara Sumati Munisha Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradara Sumati Munisha Sane Karma Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradara Sumati Munisha Sane Kar Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Om Guru Vajradara Sumati Munisha Sane Kar Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Dagi Chitsun Lama Tuje Che Nyamda Dala Tuje Siksu So Gebe Shesan Dala Tendu So Uyon Sungi Nawa Tsedu So Sechi Ningne Solwa Debe Tse Dechen Korlo Visu Lekshune Yela Sambe Dudun Malupa Gemel Hungi Drupra Chingelo Soni Sodan Diktun Shapetse Dungi Namke Yinso Lekshun Lapchen Soni Yonsu Zopa Dan Chera Nyetun Chanra Chanchu Pargi Ninsen Tukun Tu Nyu Peme Siudru Lekshun Chanchu Drube Gegen Kunshi Shi Tungen De La Drupra Chingelo Dagi Lona Chola Chokpa Dan Chemin samchur ngemba shiwa dang chedan tumbe dede malupa Nubara jingi lo dorna tengne tsera tamche dan techi pardu nekao tamche tu Rese kyamne lama kele me tukche chingi dala siksu so Gongyab drewe nyamta dachala chetsun lame tuje rab gongne Kudan sungi nawa dralme tu nyamsu nyongwe kesan toprasho Kewa kuntu yanda lama dan drame chiki pela longche chin Sadan lamgi yunte rabzone dorje changi kopa nyur top Shoya pakyuke kudan dagi lu pakyuke sundan dagi nga pakyuke tukdan dagi yi ten yerme çıktı çingi alo makyuke kudan dagi makyuke sundan dagi nga makyuke tukdan dagi yi ten yerme çıktı Chingelo Oma Muni Muni Maha Muni Shakya Muni Swaha
Onjola leso shechawa chene leso rigi bo tete shene rigi bo tete chende chedara kyuki tenpa shendo sheragi parado chemba sambola chebara chate tishi cheba namya jiso iramo chumden tiki che ka tsene sedan tenpa shere tate bona chamjo semba tembo papa jere se onjo tamche dan tembe kora tete dana lada mita lama yeda tisara chebe chide Jamde degi sumbala mumbala te to yukala chebe nejo damba ne moshe zudru maye tuto je rupa bola maye bushin se neso kandru zola cha se nu samara 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 ya kaya samara shadara samara Aga samara shadara samara ya pe gade para sangade buddhi sova pava kunjo sumge kai dembe togi chir doba yuji mera yuji shi ramdo shiva yuji dake bashi mitimbe chori nyamba tanzi shindu kuru ye sova giri donda gejo shiva na mende nebe gendan dewa na tumba druji bezon zoyi Tashi de yan den de le sho pande zave lama rimbo che nagi chivura pende ne sho kati chembe kone che sonde kuson togi mudu zedo se kuson togi mudu zedo se Demba nyame temba chamdende Kesawa tamba jizu me bangwe Keve londe pakpa tomesha Sangye
¿Te sento che ce l'ha? Il microfono che ce l'ha sta sentito o no?
Zamle kebe suge yigi nye Ome langye paba namye
Jigde miche sumla solvade miche matsara negyu chögide samu lamge gyujan duwede labjen chöbe tergyu namnanze druwe tsala sumla solvade lamje tsala sumla solvade lamje shirjin geze sensan sha gyawe menga kunzin kusali Drogun tsewe jinzin gewa chen drowe tebun sumla solwade drowe tebun sumla solwade jancho tula nganye serlimpa shinda chembu seze marmeze lamsan seze temba rimboche tembe sonsin sumla solwade Tembe sotin sumla sowade mawada me drenjo shaketo gyawe kenra kundu samu tunsin paucho ludrusha mawe tsugen sumla solwade mawe tsugen sumla solwade Paba gomba sedze dawata tese tubo rikpe kuchuche Gyase rikpe kugyo nibesha Rikpe wanchu sumla solwade Rikpe wanchu sumla solwade Tenre samu chishin sikpa ye Shinta chembu suedzin marmeze Lamsa sedze tumba rimboche Zamli gengyuru nila solwade Zamli gengyuru nila solwade Dove deno kunzin sa Tako drume sumla solwade, tako drume sumla solwade, Tsumbe drupa lurle namsen sha, tambe chinlan. Jigden chöge pangbe senge san, gyase sangbe shabla solwade, gyase sangbe shabla solwade, Chancho toge drogun pushin se, alhape alhai jeson ching. Niktu drowa drembe shenyen cho, namka gensen shabla solwade, namka gensen shabla solwade, Gyawe donsa shenyen potawa, namcha sharawa, jancho toge kaba. Drove rekon sumla solwade, drove rekon sumla solwade, Longdo ngada jansen kibu pa, time longge wangcho kebecho, Kamson drove gombo rimboche, neden chembo sumla solwade, neden chembo sumla solwade, Namda tsultri ngeda sangchenpa, duwa bumde ngada tsonapa, chung gyatso tarsu mundrapa, drove dremba sumla sowade, drove dremba sumla sowade, sabjin gyache chula nganyepe, kalden drova kuinge kapsu gyur, Chinle sambu temba gezepa, panden lame shabla solwade, panden lame shabla solwade, drube wangju chembu tsudrimbar, shenyen tsushin tenze shonu, tekchu lamge gyujan girgum shab, gyawe sebo sumla solwade, gyawe sebo sumla solwade, Mechun yunten zunzen sangye dambe chinla namka gyabo dam jigden chöge pangbe senge sang gyase sangbe shabla solwade gyase sangbe shabla solwade chancho toge drogun pushin se alhakpe alhai jeson chinge lab nyekdu drove drembe shenyen chom Namka gyausen shabla sowade. Mingme tsewe terchen cherezi, drime kembe wangbo chambe liang, kanchen kebe tsugen tsongkapa, losan trabe shabla solwade, losan trabe shabla solwade, Drube wancho chambe gyatso dan kedru mawa nima gelepe Nyingyo tambe zunzin Dame lama sumla sowade Dame lama sumla solwade
tenze kunde nye tenze kedo shala solvade tenze kedo shala solvade tu son kyamne maru dube ko losan jambe leche troke son la son gyunde dengore tenje dube gula solvade tenje dube gula solvade Chanjo chuden la so panor ki tu gyu le dang ya den zimbe so na shi chige ya zo gu chige yong ja chi su lam ra so wa de ba yong ya chi su lam ra so wa de lo san ya wa gun ge ye she ni chi du de me ya den zimbe so ram ja gen bo ya zo tro de tenje la me shabla solvade tenje la me shabla solvade dobe te la toa ni bashin londo tanche zila da jawa namba jawe chile sasumna wangyuro chizun lamra solvade wangyuro chizun lamra solvade Ramjan sona gula tare me kesan tarpa drebe chanyo Tsewe gebe tange zemaye Senze shinge namla sovade Senze shinge namla sovade Pande lame nambra tapala Kiji zamya lota mingeshin Chize lebra tonye mugegi Lame chila semla jubra sho Lame chila semla jubara Kuingi shiguro tenchen che Tsuishen tenpa lamge tsawaru Lebara tone beba tumayi Kuba chenpe tenpa chingi Kuba chenpo tenpa chingi Lenji nyebe tebe tensan Shendo nyeka tenchen shigyo Nyechen kondo nyingo lempe lu Gyunche meba kebara chingi Gyunche meba kebara Le so yowa chuyi chuboroji Nyurdo jibe chewa tenpa Shibe jeso luda tenpa Karna lende jijin tawa Nyeba tenpo nyene nyebe Taje tawa namya powa Gezo tada druba jebala Tado badan tenpara jingi Tado badan tenpa jingi Jebe mingo donye gwegi go yeden mero sebe bezo Nyeme rine dabe demora Tenye chenpo gyava jingi Tenye chenpo gyavara jingi Namda samba teye tamba Tenda shishin baye chenpo ye Tembe tsawa sosoro tarpa Druba nyembo jeva jingi Druba nyembo Rangi setsuro longwa chi shendo Magyoro drowa gwengyang de dawa Tonen drowa drove gurgi Chanjo simjo jomba jingi lo Chanjo simjo jomba jingi Semsam kekya tsutim namso Gomba mena chanjo medroba Lepara tonen gyase Tsemba tabe loba jingi Tsemba tabe lobara jingi lo Logbe yula yenwa jingi Yanda dunla tsuishin chobayi Shine lato sondo Nyurdo gyula kevra jingi lo Nyurdo gyula kevra jingi lo Tumo lamja nudo gyurba na tekwa Gwingi chogyuro doje te Kesan gewo jungo dambate Dela ngido joba jingi lo Dela ngido joba jingi lo Namni drube shi namda danzi tumba sungwa la chuma minbe ngeba nyegyure ne sodan dede sungra jingi lo sodan dede sungra jingi lo
Non lo so. Non dipende da me, non te lo so dire.
Tambe sonshin drubra jingi lo Shenyen dan tsushin drube drana shabden shin Nyana chöbe tso nyewra shiwa jinge labdo so nyewra shiwra jinge labdo so kundu yanda lama dan drame chöki pela longche chin sadan lamge yönden rabzo change koba nyurdob sho dorje change koba nyurdob sho tea offering Pazo kungi una lange chinchen lama namla chepa bu. Offering the rice. Namla chepa bu. We do now the mandala offering as a request for the teachings. Sashi om benzareke ahon chichari koryoge korwe visu yare gyabore ram shara luba bol zamboli nubo balanche chandraminye luda luba ngayab shen yunden dalam judru Draminyen da draminyen ge da rinpoche riwo pasange shin duche ye pa mame payo loto korlo rinpoche norbu rinpoche tsum rinpoche 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 lechen payo bumba Luma karma metoma duboma nasema tinchema nima dawa rinpoche tu chele nambra gyawe gyanse visul hadami pejo pinsun tsoba ma tsangwa mebra tsangshin yetu wong dedara tinchen tsawa dan gyubra chebe panden lama tamban tembe ngada Namge tada nyambe simchen damche la tu tsewa chenpo gon Tumogi ngodru malu pa se do so Ling Shi Gempadi Sangye Shinto Myote Ulowaraki Drokun Nam Dashingala Parasho Tampa Kenamki Choku Kala Sianse Trin Trin Jyotara Sampe Duce Zimayala Sabage Chögi Charaba Abatus Mandala kam niryatayami. Kichushe medo tan rirablin shenyi de gemba de sangye shindo mikde uwaragi drogo namda shingla che parasho. Kutse rapten chin namkra chinle chochur gepa dan losan tinle dreme. Drove munse tautu ne gyurachi. Dam guru ratna mandrala kam niryatayami. Chedan tsogi chonam la chancho pardo dani kyapso chi dagi chunyin gibe sonam ki drola pinchira sange drupara sho Chedan tsogi chonam la chancho pardo dani kyapso chi dagi chunyin gibe sonam ki drola pinchira sange drupara sho Chedan tsogi chonam la chancho pardo dani kepso chi dagi chunyin gibe tsonam gi drola pinchira sange drupara sho. As we take refuge in Buddha, Dharma and Sangha until enlightenment, through the practice of listening to the Dharma, may we reach the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. So, listen carefully to the instructions that I'm about to give as in accordance to the teachings of Buddha. As I wish strongly to reach the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings, for this intention, you please now listen carefully to these teachings of Dharma. Good morning, Rinpoche. So, in the very beginning, first of all, I'd like to give my greetings to all. First of all, I'm very happy to meet everyone here today, especially at the very beginning, the beginning of the teachings, as the gradual path to enlightenment on a condensed as the essence of the teachings, which is called the Songs of Experience. So at the beginning, suddenly I came here to Albagnano. I'm very happy to be here. And so, as after Kanchen Rinpoche passed into Paranirvana, it's something that I'm very sad, but still we are here praying for Rinpoche's reincarnation to come soon, and for his holy wishes to be fulfilled, and for whatever were his wishes to be completely fulfilled. And so, as Kanchen Rinpoche's advices and tradition and everything, as you are following it according to his teachings, I'm very grateful to all of you. In particular, that Lama Misha Rinpoche is taking care. As Lama Misha is taking care in a complete way, taking continuity to Kanchen Rinpoche's activity, I'm grateful. I'd like to say thank you. Even though Lama Michel is young, but with great knowledge, as you all know. Always relating in a very good way to everyone, taking good care of everything. So continuously, as the son that continues the path of the Father, so this is my request, please continue to do what you are doing. So to all of you, all disciples, to continue with unity and friendship between all of you, by remembering the kindness of your Guru, and to continue to practice in this Dharma center and to practice the practices that Kanchen Rinpoche gave to all of you. I'm very happy that you continue to do in this way. So today as I come here, we can call teachings, but it's just sharing with you a little bit of Dharma, taking of this opportunity. So many lamas and geshes, they have come here today.
I feel a little bit uncomfortable to give teachings in their all presence. They all have great knowledge and experience, but still, to give the backs to the altar and to need to give this, I'm sorry that I feel a little uncomfortable in the sense of so many great lamas with great knowledge, and I need to put myself in this position, but I will do my best. But that all these great geshes and lamas that come here to the center that normally give advice and teachings, I'm very happy, and I please request always to continue to do in the same way as Lam Michel and Drupchen Rinpoche and the great Geshe Kuncho Gyaltsen, Geshe Losam Punso, Geshe Chanchup Gyaltsen and Tenzing. I don't need to say the name of each and every one, but all of you that always continue to do and become near, as just as when Lama Ganchen Rinpoche was here. So please continue whenever the center need anything. I'm very touched by the continuity and by the dedication of all of you, as all of you know. So I'm very grateful. I'd like to say thank you to all of you. There is not much other things that I need to say. And in the center, as always, you always continue to act in accordance with the Dharma. As whenever we are in a group of people, always there are some small difficulties and conflicts and all of this. This is part of the nature. But as we are all practicing of Dharma, we need always to have patience and not react aggressively, because if we all practice patience and kindness, slowly everything gets better. If each one continues always to hold I, my own side, then it will just make conflicts to get stronger. So you're always in my prayers that we may always be united together, and everything is going very well. I'm very happy, and I request my prayers that everything continues in such way. And then now, there is no need to say much as an introduction, so I'm going to start the actual formal teaching. From the Penche Samputa Shisum, from the Guru Puja. As one's advises, as you say, we request the blessings to realize the preciousness of this life. From long time since I began last time, we have been in samsara, reborning again and again. So from many lives, we have been reborning. We have taken many lives in animals, we have taken many lives in all sorts of lower realms. But now that we have this opportunity, and actually up to now we have not gone out of samsara because we were not able to have the opportunity and to act. But now that we have these conditions, we must take its essence. This only moment that we have, that to have all these positive conditions, to have this human body with all these 18 conditions, it's basically meaning that we have all the conditions to practice the Dharma correctly. So as we have time to practice Dharma, we have opportunity to practice. So day and night we should take on this opportunity by abandoning actions without meaning. We need to be careful not to let ourselves be gone through distractions. With this intention, as just explained in the gradual path of the enlightenment, the Lam Rim, in such way, as we have these 18 wonder good conditions of a human rebirth, in order to take the essence of this life, in order to make this life meaningful, we need to start from this small path of the common path and the middle path of Mahayana thought and the great path. Just as you have all many times listened to Lam Rim, and also all of you know, as minimum, we should make sure that we don't have a lower rebirth, we don't have a continuity with suffering by taking refuge in the Guru, Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. So what is the method that I can do in order to avoid having a lower rebirth? This is the minimum that we need. As practitioners of Dharma, as we think, okay, I am like a Dharma practitioner, I'm living my life meaningfully, if we really go deeply to check, most of the time we have only thoughts about this life, about the needs of this life, not about continuity. And also to have like truly altruistic thought, it's quite difficult. Even though we call ourselves a spiritual practitioner, to have a sincere love for others, and altruistic thought is not so common. Sure, you have good thoughts and you have ideas of taking care of others and so on, but need to make it more deep and meaningfully. And need to take this opportunity and make it meaningful. So, these actions of this life, we should not let ourselves be completely taken by fame and by wealth, by attachment to one's own image. So whatever we do, not being driven by this, whatever virtuous actions we do, we need to do something that is of benefit for the future and future lives. As minimum as the small scope, which is to dedicate for beyond this life, whatever positive actions we do, to make something that is beyond only this life. So this is the way how we can start, by making this life meaningful, not to let ourselves be driven by meaningless actions of this life, not to be ourselves be completely distracted from Dharma. So in order not to have a lower rebirth, only that, it doesn't mean that we get out of the cycle of samsara. Now we have these precious humans reborn. Now we don't have, in this moment, we do not have a lower rebirth. We have all the positive conditions to practice the Dharma. So if we do not continue to practice well, we don't continue to live in a coherent way, then there is still danger for us to have a lower rebirth. What happened in the past, if you want to know what you did in the past, you need to check your moment in the present. If you want to know what will happen in the future, you need to look your mind in the present. So now that we have this incredible good human rebirth and positive conditions, is because something good we did in the past. So what will happen in the future, it depends on our own self. What happened in the future, look at your own mind, as Buddha said. So based on that, looking at your own mind means what is your mental attitude, how are your thoughts, your motivations, your emotions, when acting of benefit for others or anything that we do. So as we may think, oh, I want to help others, and for that I may reach the state of Buddhahood, this is the best motivation of bodhicitta. If we truly can think about all other sentient beings, and for that reason we want to develop ourselves on the path to enlightenment, this is the best motivation. And the middle way, okay, I want to get out of samsara, because I want to get out of the cycle of samsara, that's like a middle motivation, but which is still very good. And in order not to have lower rebirth and state of suffering in the future, this is the minimum motivation that we need to have. Ourselves generally, as we speak commonly, in this life, do not much think about the future, just take care of how taking care of people, of others in the present. This is something little bit, my own feeling, this is a little bit incoherent. We need to be able how to take good essence of this life. Please think well about this. How to take essence of this life, how to make this life meaningful. Now that we have all these positive conditions of human rebirth, we are free from lower rebirths. So in order not to have any lower rebirths in the future, not to have states of strong suffering, what can we do? And in order to liberate oneself actually from the actual samsara, we need to abandon unwholesome actions and to accumulate positive actions. This is very important. I'm just giving the main points, not entering into many details right now. All this is coming up in the text later, as these songs of experience of Lama Tsongkhapa, all of this come. But I'm just now making a small introduction. But please think about this. So in this way, as we generate the motivation, May I reach the ultimate state of Buddhahood, and for that reason, I'm now going to listen to the teachings of Dharma. So with this motivation for the benefit of other sentient beings to reach the state of Buddhahood, and for that reason I will now listen to these teachings of Dharma. So please generate such motivation. So, as Lama Tsongkhapa gave the great exposition, middle and short exposition of Lam Rim, if you are able to actually to read the great exposition of Lam Rim, the Lam Rim Chemo, this is the best. Otherwise there is the middle length Lam Rim of Lama Tsongkhapa. If this is not possible, there is at least the short version of Lam Rim, which we will go through now, which is on very few words. It's very meaningful, very good, very direct. So with very few words, with all the meanings inside, there is no much that we need more than that actually. Everything is inside. So through this, please think about learning more about it and to study about it. So today, as an initial generation, the motivation as the common path, what we have just said before. So in these next days, as we have the Tarachtamani empowerment and so on, before going through the Vajrayana empowerment, we need to go through the common path as an introduction, as a preparation for that. We are giving today these teachings of Lam Rim, and this is extremely good to do this before. I see it as very good that we go through these teachings of Lam Rim today. So now, as the Song of Experience, it starts by saying, your body is produced from limitless perfect virtues. Your speech fulfills the hopes of limitless migrators. Your mind perfectly perceives all phenomena. To the head of the Shakyas, I prostrate. So this first verse is making praise to the body, speech and mind of Buddha Shakyamuni in the first verse. So Buddha Shakyamuni has all the 32 and the minor and the 32 major and the 80 minor qualities of body, as a body of a Buddha, as in the 32 major marks of a Buddha. Not only, as we say, in order to realize this, how many causes were necessary, we need to understand like the qualities of a body of a Buddha. That's why I say your body is produced from limitless perfect virtues. It's like when you say limitless, it means a word that in Tibetan means like also billions, which means you have incredible amount of virtues of your body, such as the 32 major marks of a Buddha. They say your speech fulfills the hopes of limitless migrators, means the qualities of speech, praising the qualities of speech of Buddha. So such as having your own speech with the 60 melodies. As when Buddha says something, it's able to reach each and everyone can listen, and it's able to adapting to one's own language and capacity and mentality. Is a part of the qualities of the speech of a Buddha. These are part of the qualities of the speech of a Buddha. Your mind perfectly perceives all phenomena. These are the qualities of the mind of Buddha, praising the qualities of the mind of the Buddha. So Buddha Shakyamuni's mind has more than 110 qualities. It's called the 110 qualities of the all-knowing mind. So when we put it in condensed way, we say it's the knowledge of knowing the relative and the absolute. So when we say your mind perfectly perceives all phenomena, in essence it means that you can see all phenomena just as the lines of your own hand when painted with black ink. You can see the lines very clear. You can see everything very, very clearly, just as if it was in the palm of your hand. So to you, Buddha Shakyamuni, that have all these qualities of body, speech and mind, I make my praise and respect. So we say this essential Lam Rim, or the Song of Experience, in the very beginning, Lama Tsongkhapa make praise to Buddha Shakyamuni. Just the second verse. The supreme spiritual sons of that incomparable teacher, having assumed the responsibility of all conquerors' deeds, by manifesting your emanations in countless words to Maitreya and Manjushri, I prostrate. So in the second verse, it's making praises to Buddha Maitreya and to Manjushri. when it says the supreme spiritual sons of the incomparable teacher. So it says, from many of the spiritual sons of Buddha Shakyamuni, the most excellent is you, Maitreya and Manjushri. So from all the actions that Buddha makes, the one that takes upon, assumes the responsibility of the actions of the Buddhas is both you, Maitreya and Manjushri. You who manifest your emanations in countless words, Maitreya and Manjushri, to you I prostrate. So in this way it's making praise to Buddha, Maitreya and to Manjushri. Maitreya is the one that is taking the lineage of the extensive or the vast deeds lineage. And Manjushri is through which we receive the lineage of the profound view. So this is through which come these two lineages. So in this way we praise and make prostration to Maitreya and Manjushri. So through this you act for the benefit of all sentient beings with countless manifestations. So to both of you, Maitreya and Manjushri, I prostrate. So the second verse is praises to Manjushri and Maitreya, through which come the two lineages. Generally speaking, the profound, vast and the vast lineage, it comes directly to us, coming from Buddha Shakyamuni through Manjushri and Maitreya. So through Manjushri we receive the profound veil lineage. So through seeing the two lineages we make praise to Manjushri and to Maitreya. Basically because we have view and conduct. So like the view, the lineage of the view, it's coming mainly through Manjushri. And the third line says, the ornament of the world who have explained perfectly the intention of the mother of the conqueror so difficult to understand, I prostrate to the feet of Nagarjuna and Asanga, renowned through the worlds. This is the third verse, it's the verses of praise to Nagarjuna and Asanga. The first line says, to the ornament of the world who has explained perfectly intentions of the mother of the conqueror so difficult to understand. Buddha gave 4,000 teachings, but if we take the essence of it, it goes inside, if it can be condensed into basically the three hips, and the essence of it basically is the Sutra of Perfection of Wisdom, which is called the Mother of all Conquerors in the extensive middle and short version. Inside of this, from the called the extensive middle and short mother, which is basically the Sutra of Perfection of Wisdom, basically is showing the view and the conduct. From the view side is basically the realization of the correct view of reality of emptiness. From the part of conduct is the part of generating bodhicitta, love and compassion and bodhicitta, and all of that is in part of the conduct. So we have the two lineages of view and conduct. So the most difficult to understand mother of all the Buddhas. So who gave the commentary of the Sutra of Perfection of Wisdom? The most excellent commentary to us was Asanga and Nagarjuna. We call the charioteers, the ones that reopened the path of Buddha. So the teachings that Buddha have, the teachings of Buddha at one moment were somehow degenerated, not easily accessible, and it was Nagarjuna and Asanga that reopened this path. So as reopening the path of the Chittamatra and Madhyamika, so both of them who reopened the path of the teachings of Buddha were Asanga and Nagarjuna. So as Nagarjuna reopened the path of the Madhyamika and Asanga the path of the Chittamatra. If we go into many details, we could stay for a very long time, but still we don't have time for that now. But mainly the point here is that we praise these two great masters that are so well known. They are known through the three worlds, the worlds which is our earth, above the sky and under the ground for all sorts of beings. So to both of you, Nagarjuna and Asanga, that are known through the three worlds, which means of all spirits and animals and human beings, and to you I make praise. Up to this moment, this is the part of the text which praises the lineage. So Nagarjuna receives the lineage of Manjushri and Asanga the lineage of Maitreya. From the profound view, and the extensive conduct. The next verse says, the excellent lineages arise from the two great charioteers, the path of the extensive deeds and profound will, without error, combining completely the essential points. I bow to Atisha, upholding a treasure of oral precepts. So in this line, is making praise to the great Atisha. From here. So basically, Atisha received his teaching from two gurus, Rigpe Koyo and Sirlimpa. From the two lineages, the profound view, a profound lineage and extensive lineage. So from Guru Sirlimpa, Suvarnadipa, he received mainly the extensive conduct lineage, Atisha. From Rigpe Koyo, Atisha received the profound view lineage. In such a way, Atisha himself, he taught both the two lineages together. Atisha is the one that united the profound view lineage and the extensive conduct lineage into one. So the profound view and the extensive conduct lineage, Atisha was the one that united the two of it, and then through him it passed to us. So you that without error combining completely the essential points. So through the text of Atisha, the first text of Lam Rim, that with the beginning it's called The Lamp on the Path to Enlightenment, which was taught by Atisha, that everything was taught there. There is Lam Rim, the name of Lam Rim, the first one that taught in this way was the great Atisha, that through the teachings of him, when he composed the text of the gradual path, the lamp that clarifies the gradual path, called the Chancho Lamdren. From that we have the different commentaries such as Lama Tsongkhapa, which the extensive, middle or short, or the 8 great commentaries of the Lam Rim. All of this comes from commentaries of the Lam Rim of Atisha. So here the fourth line is make praises to Atisha that combine the two lineages into one, and from which the lineage of Lam Rim begins. The next verse, which says, you are eyes that perceive all limitless teachings, the supreme gate for the fortunate of the path to liberation. Through your deeds of skillful means motivated by compassion, I prostrate to the illuminating virtuous friends, which means basically making praise to one's own root guru. Which means the first line says, you are the eyes that perceive all limitless teachings or discourses. Means Buddha gave so many teachings of the 84,000 antidotes and so many different teachings. If we need to go through all these teachings, all the sutras, is very difficult. And in the Lam Rim, it actually takes the essence of all the teachings of Buddha. So it says it's like the eyes that are able to perceive all the teachings of Buddha, the Lam Rim teachings himself, which is the supreme gate for the fortunate one on the path to liberation. It's basically like a gate through which it can take everyone to the path of Buddha, to the state of Buddha, or to liberate oneself from the state of samsara. It's the excellent path to get out of samsara. Through your deeds of skillful means motivated by compassion, respectfully I prostrate to the illuminating virtuous friend, that through your compassion you guide me with skillful means. So through all the gurus I prostrate. Through compassion that you guide with the teachings of Lam Rim on the gradual path to enlightenment, through your kindness and compassion. So in this way, the fifth verse is a verse in which we prostrate and pay respect to one's own gurus, which is a very important part. This is coming afterwards again, but to rely correctly upon one's own guru is very important. So, respectfully I prostrate to illuminating virtuous friends. From both Nagarjuna and Asanga, the crown ornament of the world's scholars, the banner of renown for illuminating mimicries, the excellent lineage of Lam Rim sequently arose, fulfilling all the hopes and wishes of living beings, is the king of the powerful, precious oral instructions, a stream combining 1,000 excellent texts, an ocean of glorious supreme So when we say the Lam Rim teachings, it arrives from Nagarjuna and Asanga gradually up to us. Just as it was said before, that the lineage of Atisha united the two lineages of Asanga and Nagarjuna. So as we say, the gradual path to enlightenment, so-called Lam Rim. So this is basically this verse, it's saying, what are we talking about in this text? We are showing you the gradual path to enlightenment, which come from Nagarjuna and Asanga through the teachings of Atisha. Mainly it's to fulfilling all the hopes and wishes of living beings, is the king of the power for precious oral instructions, a stream combining 1,000 excellent texts, and an ocean of glorious and supreme explanations. So, in order to fulfill the wishes of all living beings, we call the king of the powerful, which means something that is able to fulfill all the wishes, or the wish-fulfilling jewel. The wish-fulfilling jewel, in order to fulfill all the wishes of this life. Normally we say that this body is even more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel. Normally we say in this way. Similar to that, we say that these teachings, the Lam Rim, are just like a wish-fulfilling jewel. Why? Because all the teachings of the teachings of Buddha, of the Mahayana and Hinayana, the lower and the higher vehicle teachings, all the teachings of Buddha, is the essence of all of this. It's inside the Lam Rim teachings. That's why it says a stream combining 1,000 of excellent texts and an ocean of glorious and supreme explanations. So Lam Rim combines within itself all the teachings of Buddha, following the examples of an ocean. So it's like the ocean of all the teachings of Buddha. In the ocean there are like many jewels and many precious things also in the ocean, at the same time meaning something that is extremely vast and profound. That's the metaphor of the ocean here. So the teachings of Buddha are extremely vast and profound, but in the Lam Rim it's able to hold its essence, which says that the Lam Rim has 4 qualities. That there is all the teachings in an without contradiction. So all the teachings are being non-contradictory. All the teachings in a way that is possible to practice, instructions for practice, making it easily to realize the state of Buddhahood. So making it in a way that is possible for one's own direct practice. So normally we say that it has so in the first we say that the Lam Rim brings all the teachings without contradiction. So Buddha gave many teachings. We say that like all the 84,000 teachings and the 3 extensive and middle and short version of the Prajnaparamita Sutra. So Buddha gave teachings in so many different ways in order for every sentient being to reach enlightenment in accordance to their own capacities. But the Lam Rim is able to put all the teachings together without contradictions, making it coherent between all the different parts. When it says that it brings, second one which says all the teachings of Buddha are able to be brought as direct practice from all the teachings of the Buddha, starting from relying upon the Guru until the path of the meditation on the correct view of reality. In the Lam Rim it's bringing everything through practical level. And in Lam Rim all the different practices are put inside. So everything is inside. Such as in this, the songs of experience of Lam Rim and all the other Lam Rim teachings, everything is inside. For the third quality, which is it makes easy to reach the ultimate state of Buddha. The state of Buddhahood, in order to reach it easily, the only path is through the path of the gradual path to enlightenment, such as it's taught in the Lam Rim teachings. So, if we follow correctly the steps, it's possible to reach the state of Buddhahood. And the fourth quality, it refers that to the fact that in some of the teachings of Buddha, it's teaching from the sutra part, other teachings from the tantra part. Some people say, oh, you need to follow the sutra. Other people say you need to follow the tantra. Sometimes there are some incoherence. Some people say, oh, the Mahayana is the best. Other people say, no, the Theravada is the best. Sometimes there is some incoherence and some sort of conflict. Sometimes it may appear as in this way. And in the Lam Rim, it's showing clearly that they're without any contradiction. Putting everything with harmony, all the teachings in harmony together in order for the practice. These are the four great qualities of the teachings of Lam Rim. So the seventh verse says, through it one realizes all the Buddha's teachings as non-contradictory. All teachings arise as personal instructions. One easily finds the intention of the conqueror, and you are protected from the abyss of great mistake. So for these reasons, all the great masters of India and Tibet, everyone followed very clearly Lam Rim. Everyone, by just seeing the teachings of Lam Rim, one's mind is touched. There is no one with correct awareness that is not touched by the Lam Rim teachings. So all of those that have the correct attitude, that's why what person with a superior mind would not be captivated by these teachings? Anyone that has the correct attitude and awareness, it's captivated by these teachings. That's why it says, therefore all great beings of India and Tibet, those fortunate ones, rely upon the supreme instructions as the stages of the path of the three beings. What person with a superior mind would not be captivated by these teachings? So anyone with the correct awareness automatically generates faith and connection. One's own mind is touched by the teachings of Lam Rim. So here Lama Tsongkhapa says, anyone that has the correct attitude is deeply touched by these teachings of Lam Rim. He's talking about the qualities of these teachings. The eighth verse say, as are conscious collections of all teachings, one session of either teachings or listening to the system accumulates the same benefit of explaining all hearing of the holy Dharma. It is definited by contemplating its meaning, a great way of merit amassed. So, which means, first of all, it says that in these teachings, all the teachings of Buddha, the essence of all of this are inside the teachings of the Lam Rim. So, by listening once to the teachings of Lam Rim, it's all the 84,000 teachings of Buddha benefit. It's coming together. By listening to the Lam Rim once, is like as listening to all the teachings, has the benefit of listening to all the teachings of Buddha. As the Sutra of Perfection of Wisdom, on all the sutras of Buddha and commentaries, there is a lot of benefit of going through all of that. Even though you're not able to read all the sutras of Buddha and all the teachings, but by listening to the Lam Rim and studying and practicing, you have the same benefit as if you were reading all the teachings of Buddha and studying all the different sutras. Through the Lam Rim, you receive all the benefits of it. As it says here, one session of either teaching or listening to this system of Lam Rim accumulates the same benefit as explaining or hearing all the holy Dharma. So, by practicing the Lam Rim, from the benefit point of view, to increase one's own merits, and it's very strong from the part of the conditions and one's own thought. So it helps to accumulate a lot of virtuous, positive actions. So even though you are not able to go through the very extensive version of Lam Rim, at least going through the short version of Lam Rim as the one that we are reading, it brings incredibly great benefit. So again and again, you can read it and reflect upon its meaning and put it into practice. This brings great benefit. And also this, and it's something that with small effort you can bring great benefit. So in this way, it says, this 8th verse, as it says, it is definitive. By contemplating its meaning, a great wave of merit will be amassed. So after this, it's entering into the actual meaning of the text, into the main core part of the text. Starting from relying correctly upon the Guru, the first text, which is the root of the path, which is relying correctly upon the Guru. Buddha said, the root connecting all the excellent interdependence, which accumulates excellence from this life and the next, is a striving with thought and action to properly rely upon the holy virtuous friend who teaches the path. Seeing this, do not abandon him even at the cost of your life, and please him by offering your practice of all teachings. I, the yogi, practice in this way. You who seek liberation should do the same. So in this life, whatever benefit things that we do, all the virtues that we learn, all the positive aspects, if we want all positive actions, or if we want good things in life, we need to rely correctly upon the Guru. This is the root. In the text itself, it calls, as it says, the root connecting all excellent interdependence, which accumulates excellence for this life and the next, is striving with thought and action to properly rely upon the holy, virtuous friend who teaches the path. So, as normally we say commonly during teachings of Lam Rim, that we need to rely correctly upon the Guru with thought and action, with faith. On the root, we need first to train the root of faith. Not only that, also to familiarize oneself with the kindness of the Guru, developing gratitude. For the Guru himself, there is no particular benefit of us developing such gratitude. But if we want ourselves to have benefit, we need to rely correctly upon the Guru. We need to cultivate faith and gratitude. We have many Dharma teachers, we have many Lamas and teachers through whom we receive the teachings. To all of them, sometimes there may be happening that someone that taught us the Dharma may do something and we may not agree much and we may say something bad about them. This is something that is danger for our path. Our Gurus, they manifest in a human aspect, and it's very special that we can have this type of connection. In the past, some Gurus, they manifest in the most strange ways, as like the one like killing fishes, or in many other different strange appearances the Guru manifested, like such the history of Tilopa and Naropa. At our time, the Gurus have manifested to us in accordance that is fitting to our own mind. Still, there may be something that it's not according to our expectation, but we should not criticize, we should not see negatively, because this is danger for our own path. So that's why on the basis we need to train our own faith. We need to train ourselves, we need to familiarize ourselves with our faith. It is normal that we project things, and because of our own merits, we may actually see things on our own Guru that are not according to our expectation, and we may criticize and so on. But we need to train ourselves not to go into that way, to see our Guru in a positive manner. This is something that is very important. Just as in the text of Lama Tsongkhapa, which says, the root of all virtues is to rely correctly upon the Guru. May I please bless me so I may be always to be able to have faith and respect upon my Guru. So if we want qualities to ourselves, the root of it is to rely correctly upon the Guru. Not only to rely upon the Guru, but to rely correctly upon the Guru. So, as Lama Tsongkhapa says, is the basis of realizations to rely correctly upon the Guru. In such so, as it says here, the root connecting all excellent interdependence, which accumulates excellence for this life and the next, is striving with thought and action, properly relying upon the holy virtuous friend. So when relying upon the Guru is two ways, from mind and action. We need to do it with a pure mind. Seeing this, do not abandon the Guru even at the cost of your life, and please him by offering your practice as teachings. Once you know the importance of the Guru, you shouldn't give up this relationship, even at the cost of your own life. The meaning of this is, Sometimes we say, oh, if someone say to us, oh, if you relate to your guru, if I will kill you or something, it doesn't matter. Which says, it doesn't matter what happened, what threat I may receive, I'm never going to give up my relationship with my own guru. So, even at the cost of my own life, and I will please him by following correctly his teachings, by putting into practice the teachings. One would say, to practice, to follow correct the advices, and to practice correct the teachings. This is the best offering that we do for the guru. The Guru teaches us in order for us to be free from our own suffering, for nothing else. So if we practice correctly the teachings, this is the best offering that we can do to the Guru. There are many different offerings that exist, but the best offering is to practice correctly the teachings, to follow correctly the advice. This is the best offering we can do to the Guru. We can make offerings of material things and offer our own service and so on, just as is also explained in the Guru Puja that you recite very oftenly here. But from all of this, the best is to practice. So when we think directly to what is the best offering to the Guru, we may think that the best is to make material offerings and to put ourselves in service and some things, because we can see clearly that we offer something material and strong. And sometimes also when we pay respect, this is also a form of offering. But if we put into practice exactly what our Guru teaches us, this is the best offering. From all the offerings, following correctly the advices that the Guru gives to us, this is the best offering that we can give. So here it says, in the text says, please him by offering your practice of the teachings. And then Lama Tsongkhapa says, I, the yogi, referring to himself, Lama Tsongkhapa, I practice in this way. You who seek liberation should do the same. So I say, I, the yogi, practice in this way. You who seek liberation should do the same. When we recite it as a prayer, normally we make a small change in which it says, the precious Guru practice in this way. You who seek liberation should do the same. So as we recite the text means, oh, just as Lama Tsongkhapa practice, I'm also going to practice in the same way. When we recite normally, as like in the prayers together, this verse is slightly changed. If we follow the exact line, learns as Lama Tsongkhapa wrote, it says, I, the yogi, practice in this way, you who seek liberation should do the same. This is the way how Lama Tsongkhapa wrote it, but when we recite it together, normally we make a small changes, and we say, Lama Tsongkhapa practice in this way, and I'm going to practice in the same way. Just as a child following one's own parents. It's not enough just to say, I'm Gelup, I follow Lama Tsongkhapa. Whatever whatever path he followed, his way of accumulating and abandoning non-virtues, we need to follow in the same way. How he practiced, how he studied, how he reflected, how he meditated. We need to follow the path that Lama Tsongkhapa did. This, then we are truly following Lama Tsongkhapa. Just by saying that we are following Lama Tsongkhapa is not enough. So it says, I have practiced in this way, you who seek liberation should do the same. Normally we say the Venerable Guru practice in this way, I'm going to practice in the same way. This is how we recite often. By showing how to practice, how to rely correctly upon the Guru. We're not going to enter much into details as we don't have much time. So we don't go into details. Next part is recognizing the preciousness of this life. It says, this body of leisure surpass even a wish-fulfilling jewel. We will find a body like this only once. So basically referring that we have this life with special conditions, which is called the 8 leisures and preciousness of this life. So it says that this life is even more than a wish-fulfilling gem, which means that this body, these human conditions we have, it's even more precious than a wish-fulfilling gem. If we look like this, it may say, so why, how come this body is so precious? We may not see it in this way. If it's possible, if we see this body and a wish-fulfilling gem that can fulfill any sort of material wishes, but the wish-fulfilling jewel can only fulfill objectives of this life, no more than that. If we take this human rebirth, this body, this condition that we have, it can fulfill wishes of both this and future lives, in the present and future. it is possible to avoid us having lower rebirths in the future. It can take us to the state of Buddhahood. So in this way, this body, this condition we have right now is not something that we can take for granted. If we do correctly, if we use it correctly, we can take ourselves to the Buddhahood. If we truly wish to help sentient beings, it can help us to help sentient beings. We can help people materially and many things. This is momentary help, which is good, but we can just eliminate a momentary suffering through material help. If oneself reaches a higher spiritual state such as Buddhahood, then we can truly help others to get out of suffering. Then we have the power to help others truly to eliminate completely their suffering. If the disciples, if the followers have merits, Buddhas have the means to guide us. As normally it says, as a metaphor, as if like when there is a cave that is looking towards the west, when the sun shines in the morning, the sun cannot go in. But instead, if the cave is looking to the east, in the moment that the sun shines, the sun goes inside. Similar to that, we need to turn our own cave towards the sun. We are not able to see the sun if we are not directed in the correct way. So as the teachings of Buddha and the Buddhas are like the sun shining, our own self as the cave, we need to direct it correctly in order to be able to receive the sun. If we are not in the right direction, we are not able to receive the sun. So our previous masters, they would be giving these examples. It's truly like this. If we from our side are able to do correctly, as the teachings of Buddha are present, we say that we are in the degenerate times, but actually Buddha's teachings are there. They are correctly there. So Buddha's teachings are now present just as the sun shining. They have not yet degenerated. So if we are able to open ourselves to it, we can receive it, we can practice it. It is in this way. So we need to practice from our side. We need to have the intention to help others. Even we have intention that I want to get out of one suffering. No one wishes to suffer. Everyone wishes happiness. Even though we wishes for happiness, but we are all like fooled around by gross level of happiness. This is small happiness. This is not the happiness without fault. This is not a permanent state of happiness. If with the true state, deeper, like we call pure happiness, pure state of bliss without fault, or the ultimate state of happiness, this is what we gain when getting out of samsara, reaching the state of Buddhahood. So through that we may I reach the state of Buddhahood in order to help others to get out of suffering, of every form of suffering. This is the intention we need to generate. So this body is even more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel. Why is more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel? Because it can allow us to reach such stages. So if we use correctly this human body and conditions, we can do a lot out of it. If we do not use it correctly, then it can even take us to lower rebirths. So in this moment we need to recognize the preciousness of this life. So the two first lines. It says it's hard to find and easily destroyed, like a bolt of lightning in the sky. Contemplating this, you will come to realize that all worldly actions are like a husk of grain. So say hard to find and easily destroyed like a bolt of lightning in the sky. Contemplating this, you will come to realize that all worldly actions are like a husk of grain, and that day and night you must take its essence. So it says, even though we may think, I want to practice, oh, when I get older I will be able to practice, in a few years I will practice. We're always postponing, but this life passes so fast. So when we can see that actually it's hard to find this life that we have, and it's easily destroyed just like a bolt of lightning in the sky. It's difficult to find. Once we get it, it will soon be lost. We don't know how much we are going to live. In one way, this life goes by so fast. So we say it's difficult to find and easily destroyed, easily goes away, and it goes fast, just like a lightning in the sky. Just like a lightning in the sky. When we see a bolt of lightning in the sky, it goes very fast and comes and goes very fast. Just in this way, this life comes and goes very fast. There is not much to go in this life. It goes very fast. By thinking in this way, you will come to realize that worldly actions are something that we should not really give much importance. By understanding this, we do a lot of meaningless actions of this life. We need to understand that this doesn't have any essence. It's just like the husk of the grain without essence. If we see when a grain like rice, if you take away the rice and you just leave the husk around, you will see that the husk doesn't have essence. The husk of the grain can be taken up and down by the wind, but without the actual rice inside, without the actual grain, it doesn't have essence. So it's similar to that, all the different mundane actions that we are completely drained by, they're without essence, they are just like superficial. If we only think about momentary mundane pleasure and happiness, if we only think about that, it doesn't have true essence. If we just say like this momentarily, in the first moment, we want to have things that makes us happy, such as, okay, when we are hungry, the wish for food, or when we are in with heat, we want to have more coolness, and so on. It gives us a sensation of pleasure. This is called one impure happiness, impure state of well-being. But we need to go deeper and deeper to understand it. Once we understand it more deeper, we can see its own fault. Like, for example, it doesn't matter how much we eat, gradually it brings us to a state of suffering. It's not able to sustain our happiness. When we are feeling heat and we put like an air condition, it will momentarily give us pleasure, but after we'll feel too cold and then we have suffering again. This is called impure sort of happiness, which means that in its true nature, sooner or later it manifests as suffering. Once we recognize such things that are of the nature of suffering as actual happiness, in this way it cannot sustain it. This mind that holds suffering as happiness, we are completely distracted by it. It's easy to see the suffering of suffering as suffering. Most of our actions are in order to liberate oneself from the suffering of suffering. But suffering is not only that. There is the suffering of change. The suffering of change is what we have just explained. Is this common pleasures that sooner or later become suffering. This is what we call the suffering of change. So maybe we be liberated from the mind that holds the momentary happiness as ultimate happiness. To be liberated from this momentary suffering is also only not enough to liberate oneself from the suffering of change, because there is still the all-pervasive suffering. All-pervasive suffering, which is the most subtle form of suffering within samsara. This is what we need to abandon. Once we eliminate the all-pervasive suffering, this is what we mean by being liberated from samsara. So we need to learn more deeply about the three forms of sufferings. This means truly practicing the Dharma. One is by abandoning this momentary, superficial happiness. And some people think that, okay, this is what we mean by actual ultimate state, by just eliminating momentary happiness, this impure form of happiness, seeing this as something negative, and to see this as a path of liberation. They can reach up to a certain level. But that's actually truly enough. And this doesn't mean to liberate oneself completely from samsara. To be liberated truly from suffering, we need to liberate oneself from the all-pervasive suffering. because this is the basis for us to go again and again in this cycle of mental defilements and karma. This is the basis of the all-pervasive suffering. This is what we need to be liberated from. So in order to liberate oneself from samsara, we need to recognize the all-pervasive suffering as suffering. This is coming later in the text also. So in this way you should, by day and night, may take essence of this life. I, the yogi, practice in this way. You who seek liberation should do the same. After death, verse number 11, after death you have no assurance that you will not be born in the lower realms, and it is definited that the true jewels have the power to protect you. So in order not to have lower rebirths, we need to think a way how to do that. So if we think how in the way how we act normally, if we just act in a mundane way, like they're mainly we are creating all the causes actually to have a lower form of rebirth. So because we do not practice really truly strongly virtue, and we practice in the best way the unvirtuous ways. So in this moment we have not reached a certainty of not going into any lower rebirth. No, we have no certainty that we will have no lower rebirth once time. Some people, they are in the moment that they practice very well during their own life, that in the moment of death, that they have the certainty of not having any lower rebirth, that you don't need to worry about me, I'm going to go die well, that I have awareness in the moment of one's own death. Some people are able to do that. I cannot say about everyone, but many of you have a very good level of practice. But many of us, we are not really sure about what happened after one's own death. So because of that, we truly need to rely upon Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. So to make sure to have a good continuity, we need to rely correctly upon Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. When we need to go to a place which is difficult, in order not to go through any danger, we need to take help. We need to ask for help for someone that knows that path and can protect us. Similar to that, as we are in samsara and we don't want to go into stronger and deeper states of suffering, in order to protect us from that, we need to take refuge into Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. For that reason, in one way we are Buddhist. We have taken refuge, we recognize Buddha, Dharma and Sangha as the actual refuge, but still, by seeing Buddha, Dharma and Sangha as the actual refuge, doesn't mean that we are truly Buddhist. We need to understand the meaning of Buddha, Dharma. What is the Buddha, what is the Dharma, what is the Sangha, what are their qualities. We need to understand it, we need to learn it. And then truly we need to take refuge. Then the power of it and the benefit of it is different. So in this way. So the Buddha, the one that's showing us the path, the Dharma, the actual refuge, and the Sangha, the support during our path. So, in the beginning, as I say, I take refuge in the Guru, and the Buddha, and the Dharma, and the Sangha, we say it. But truly, the true refuge is the refuge in the Dharma. So some Guru says in the beginning, some Guru, some Lama say in the beginning, we need to take refuge in the Dharma. But the main point is that at the essence, because it comes from the Guru, that's why we start by the Guru. As the Guru, as a manifestation of the Buddha, then after we say take refuge in the Buddha. So the path to get free from samsara, so to liberate us from our ignorance and the imprints of our ignorance, and to reach its ultimate state, it's actually the Dharma. The Dharma is our true refuge. So as we say, the path of liberation and the path of the path. The truth of liberation and the truth of the path is the actual refuge, which means our own potential for enlightenment and the path to liberate oneself from enlightenment. This is the true path, this is the true refuge. This is the true refuge on which we need to take refuge. then we are truly taking refuge correctly.
不养死些些
Then in a more
三业给功德的
vast
三业
way,
就是
when we say like in the image of a Buddha and we take refuge in as the Buddha, this is like a more relaxed way, like a more simple way. In some text says when you see an image of a Buddha, you should see it as the Buddha and take refuge.
有的吸引进来呀，
And then when you have the Sangha, you need to see everyone that is in the Sangha, monks and everyone, as the actual Sangha in which you take refuge. So truly, the actual true Buddha in which we take refuge is the one, as we say, with all the different qualities of the Buddha. The statues and images like manifestations of the Buddha, representation of the Buddha. And through its appearance, we can take refuge in the Buddha to connect our mind. This is also good. So it says, take good refuge in Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. Therefore, rely sincerely on going for refuge and do not degenerate its precepts. Once taking refuge, you need to follow correctly the instructions that you receive. All the different precepts of refuge, you need to follow it correctly. So, when once taking refuge, you follow correctly the teachings and the precepts. So if you take correctly refuge and follow correctly the precepts, then this is true, it can protect you from any sort of lower states of suffering. Furthermore, by understanding well the cause and effect of white and black actions, you will be able to understand what to adapt and what to discard. It's not enough just to take refuge. We need to understand the law of karma, the law of cause and effect. So we need to act correctly and virtually. So understanding that we need to abandon what brings harm and cultivate what brings benefit. So by abandoning negative actions and cultivating virtuous actions, this is what gives us the true certainty of our future. So the text continues. Furthermore, by understanding well the cause and effect of white and black actions, you will be able to understand what to adopt and what to discard. You need to understand what is the non-virtuous actions and the virtuous actions, called black and white actions sometimes. Basically like the 10 negative actions and the 10 positive actions. What are the actions to abandon? What are the actions to cultivate? Abandon 10 negative actions, cultivate the 10 positive actions. If we cultivate such types of actions, after this will bring me suffering, so I need to avoid it. If I act in such way, this will bring me benefit, so we need to follow it. As practitioners of Dharma, as spiritual practitioners, we need to avoid what brings suffering, cultivate what brings well-being. When we say Dharma, Dharma, it also means shaping one's own mind, transforming one's negative behaviors, and we have many habits that are going on a negative side. This we need to change. We need to shape our mind. We need to change our mind. The word in Tibetan, "chu," can also mean to shape, to transform. Also, when we make the practice of chut, it means also cutting. So to cut one's own selfishness and ignorance. So as it says here in the text, once I, the yogi, practice in this way, you who seek liberation should do the same. I have practiced in this way, so you also please practice in the same way, Lama Tsongkhapa says to us. So in this way, I, yogi, practice in this way, you should seek liberation in the same way. Verse 12. For accomplishing the supreme path, the fully qualified human form is best. Until you find one, you will not make progress. So in order to reach Buddhahood, what type of body you need? What type of conditions you need? This is what is being explained. In order to accomplish the supreme path, the fully qualified human form is necessary, is the best. If we are very strong, we can do many things. Whatever we need to do, needing of strength, we are able to do. Similar to that, in order to practice the Dharma correctly, in order to fulfill the Dharma, we need conditions with all the different qualities. We need the correct conditions, as we say with 18 conditions, such as that. This gives us the possibility to practice whatever path we want to practice. It gives us all the conditions for it. So in such way, if we are not able to find such right conditions, then we are not able to have great objectives, to gain great results. So until you find one, you will not make progress. So we need to strive to have the right conditions. And once we have it, we need to keep it well. So we need to put effort in order to keep the good conditions, such as abandoning negative habits and cultivating positive ones. Because by having a human rebirth, it's not enough. This doesn't mean that we have all the conditions simply by being a human. So, generally speaking, being a human gives us good conditions, but we need other conditions also. But still there are differences of strength in this way. So until we don't have the right conditions, we should put effort in order to fit. We therefore learn how to cleanse your mental continuum and rid your three doors of the stains of negative karma and downfalls. The supreme thing is to cleanse your mind of obstructions by relying continuously on the four opponents' power. Very often we say, oh, we need to purify karma, we should abandon negative actions, and we need to purify our negative karma. Sometimes we do negative actions with intention, sometimes we do without intention, sometimes we do a lot of negative actions just out of habit. So we need to learn truly how to eliminate. There is one quality of negative karma that is possible to purify it. This is one of the qualities of negative karma. So we truly need to abandon and to purify one negative actions. We need to do through the four forces, for the powers. So it says, in order to cleanse one's own mind, we need to do through the four opponent powers. So if our body, speech and mind are covered by our own negative karma, it's difficult to be able to fulfill our own qualities. So because of that, it's very important to purify one's own negativities. And to do that, we need to purify through the four opponent powers. We need to rely upon the four opponent powers. So we need to purify through the four opponent powers. So the power of the basis, the power of an opponent activity, the power of regret, and the power of positive action. This is commonly explained in many times, so we don't. So the power of the basis, it's basically generating refuge and bodhicitta, there are many different bases, which is basically an opposite attitude of the one of the negative action. And by taking refuge in the bodhicitta, we generate a general basis. Then we have the power of opposition, then the power of making the commitment not to repeat again this action. So first we need to see the negative action as negative action. So if we have regret on this action, and then this will bring automatically the commitment not to repeat it again. So if there is the regret, then it will be the commitment not to repeat again. When we make negative actions, we need to see negative action as negative. We need to have that, that was not a good action. So the more we have a strong clearness about, the more we regret upon it, the stronger we will be able to commit not to repeat it again. This will bring the mind not to repeat again. And in case I will repeat it again, at least may it be a little bit smaller. At least may I be able to stay some time without doing this action. We need to. At least one day I will avoid doing this action. We need to have this commitment to avoid such negative actions. With this, we need to openly admit our negative actions. And with this, we have the ultimately antidote. The fourth power is, in order to purify the negativity, we need to accumulate merit and do different practices. As here you do every day the Guru Puja Tsok offering, which is incredibly good. As it says there, more than meditating on generation and completion stage, meditating on the Guru, it's even greater. By making offerings, as in the Guru Puja, is the best, excellent way of accumulating merit and purifying. So by reciting the Guru Puja and making the Tsok offering, in this way you accumulate a great amount of merit. So through this, you can generate the opponent power of the antidote. You generate a positive action as an opposition to the negative action to purify. So in such way, on the basis we have refuge in bodhicitta. When we make negative actions or towards holy beings or towards sentient beings. By generating refuge in bodhicitta, we have the opposite attitude, which is the basis, the power of the basis. Then we have seeing negative action as negative, as generating regret, and then the commitment not to do it again. And then we do virtuous actions such as prostrations, mantras, helping others, whatever. All this becomes the power of opposition. If we do positive actions through these four awarenesses, then it's truly possible to eliminate one's own negative actions. If we purify our negative actions, then the opposite of the negativities, which is the virtue, it will naturally increase. If by abandoning negative habits and negative actions, the virtuous actions, they would naturally increase. So it is very important to avoid and to abandon one's own negative habits and actions and to cultivate positive and virtuous actions. This is in the essence of, in the small scope, in the very beginning of the path. In order not to have lower states of suffering, we need to abandon the 10 negative actions. We need to abandon the 10 negative actions. We need to apply antidote towards them by not accumulating the 10 negative actions. By this, we are able not to avoid lower types, states of suffering or states of being. We have 3 different types of actions, which is merit, actions of merit, which brings us to a positive type of state, which we call virtuous actions. Then we have negative actions, which bring its own results as suffering, which means negative actions. We call sonoma imbele, which is non-meritorious actions. Then we have neutral actions, which is basically this type of action is something that we can only understand and practice once reaching certain states of concentration and realizations. For most of us, what we need to talk now is basically how to avoid the negative actions. How can we avoid all sorts of unvirtuous negative actions? Through this, we can liberate oneself from deeper states of suffering and lower rebirths. Because once we have a lower rebirth, then there is suffering. Then we need to experience a lot of suffering for a long time. We lose a lot of time. We can stay long periods into this state. So once we have this precious human body, it's difficult to gain. So when we see the time that we may need to stay in lower states of rebirth, this human life is so short, it's just an instant. So we truly need to purify our body, speech and mind, and we need to avoid the negative actions. So as says, the supreme thing is to cleanse one's mind from the obscurations by relying continuously on the 4 opposite powers. I, the yogi, practice in this way. You who seek liberation should do the same. So in this way. So for this morning, we will stop here, and then afternoon we will continue. So there is no need to go into many details, so please put into practice whatever I have explained and taught. When dedications, Tawa Kunla Kambe Dan Kebra Jetsun Losan Traba Tembe Nimbo Rindo Seje Sho Pöge Chushe Medo Tran. Make mandala offering as a sign of gratitude. Shindo Mikde Ulwargi Drogu Namda Shingla Chöpare Sho Dam Guru Ratna Mandrala Kamniryata Yami.
manifest our gratitude to Geshe Kuncho Gyaltsen that offered the tea and rice for everyone. Okay? Thank you.